Madam Mayor, it's 6 o'clock.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call this Tuesday, September 17th, regular City Commission meeting to order and ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Mayor Pam Trillo,
Here.
Vice Mayor Andy Amoroso,
Here.
Commissioner Scott Maxwell,
Here.
Commissioner Omari Hardy,
Here.
Commissioner Herman Robinson.
Here.
Thank you.
If everyone would please rise for the invocation on behalf of Commissioner Hardy, followed by the pledge.
Dear Lord, we meet to serve our community, to use our resources wisely and well, to represent all members of our community with fairness, to make decisions that promote the common good. We recognize our responsibility to the past and to the future, and to the rights and needs of both individuals and community. As trusted servants, we seek blessings on our deliberations and on our efforts here today. May we act wisely and well. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all very much. I see some new faces in the audience today, so I just want to kind of give you the skinny on what happens here and what the cards all mean and that kind of stuff. There are blue cards in the back, and you have a couple of chances to speak here at the meetings. One is under item 7, which is public participation of non-agended and consent agenda items. And what that means is that if there isn't a item on the regular agenda, and that would be public hearings or new business or unfinished business, if you want to talk on any one of those items, you would put that number on your card. So 12A or whatever item it is. If it's public participation of non-agended items, which is item 7, you would fill out a card and put non-agenda on the top. Okay, and that's the place where you can talk about any other issue that's not on the agenda or is on the consent agenda, which means it'll go to an automatic vote. So I just want to make sure that you have a card for that. You need to get the cards in relatively quickly, because once the final ones are read and we call for a count, you can't put cards in and add to them at that point. Once I call it, it's done. You will have 3 minutes to speak on non-agended items, and you will have 2 minutes per agended item. And the timer does go off, and when you see, sometimes, a lot of times you can't hear the timer when it goes off, especially if you're nervous when you're getting up here, especially for the first time. So if you don't hear it and I start to say, thank you, thank you, thank you, that means you've gone past your time. I'm trying not to be rude, but we want to make sure everyone gets a chance to talk. So please just keep that in mind, all right? We'll move on to additions, deletions, or reordering. Are there any, City Manager or City Clerk?
I haven't heard any.
Okay, we can move on then to our presentation by the College Park Neighborhood Associations. Lindy. Hey.
Well, thank you so much. We are very official tonight with a PowerPoint. I'm Lindy Sico. I've served as the College Park president for the last year. And we are happy tonight to have Kara Pace with me. Kara helps us now with all of our marketing. She's really, I don't know if you started noticing, we're a lot more on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and email. So just trying to reach a lot of those new neighbors that we have and obviously our existing neighbors now. So College Park Neighborhood Association, we've decided that this year, I'm so loud, I don't know if I need that. Our mission is sort of building our community one neighbor at a time. College Park, over the last year and a half, has seen a huge influx of new residents that are buying homes, renting homes, and it is very exciting when you start to see that. And so what we've really tried to do is figure out how do we get engagement. And so what we found is in our neighborhood, and I'm sure other neighborhoods, there are people who just want to go to a meeting and they just want to sit there and, talk about things, whether it's potholes or utilities or things of that nature. And then you have another group of folks that really just want to come for social engagement. They want to get to know their neighbors. They want to find out, who's in the neighborhood, what are their interests. And so what we've tried to do over the last year and a half is figure out a way, how do we sort of capture and engage those folks? Next slide, please. some of the things that we do right now, we have monthly meetings. And so the first Monday of every month, we are at Lake Worth Beach Clubhouse. And so we provide typically, I know that many of you have been to our meetings. And so what we do is we try to mix it up. We also have been having block parties. So we've had 3 now. Average attendance has been about 100, sometimes a little more, a little less. And a couple of times we've really tried to theme it to capture some of the young families that are starting to move into our neighborhood. At our Halloween event, I think we had almost 65 children. Some of them were College Park, some of them from Eden Place and different places. And then we're going to talk a little bit tonight about our partnership with NAPC. And then some of the other things that we're trying to do are having things like happy hours and trivia nights to start bringing in our neighbors to our association. Next slide. So, as I mentioned, monthly meetings. This picture was taken from our trivia night that we did. We actually, Commissioner Robinson and Commissioner Hardy were there that night and played a couple of rounds with us. Typically what we do is we start out just talking about neighborhood happenings. What are things that we have coming up? We obviously give a treasurer report because when we collect dues, we want our neighbors to know where their dollars go. And so right now, our biggest initiative last year was getting all of the College Park banners put back up. And this year, we are working towards a fall event, which I'll share with you momentarily. We obviously continue to participate in city events, any parades. We all know Lake Worth loves a good parade, and we're always there to step in. We have special guests. Commissioner Hardy spoke with our team, with our neighbors recently. And I wanted to give a big shout out to Mayor Trillo. She met with us in August. It was a meeting that really opened my eyes to where my neighbors feel we have concerns. And it was great. It was very positive, but I did not realize the amount of Airbnbs that we had coming into College Park. And so it was really nice that we had a great dialogue that night. And also we learned a little bit more about code enforcement and how it impacts our neighborhood. So it was great. And thank you for coming out and we had a good turnout. So, and then of course, trivia. We continue to do that. We'll actually be doing that in October, and we're partnering with Eden Place. And so one of the things that we're starting to do is partner with our neighbors that may or may not have the participation or the funds to do events. And so I'll talk a little bit about more of that when we go to the next slide. So this is just a couple of things that we've done. We had a picnic during the Easter holiday there at Spillway Park. We just recently tried something new. We just did a happy hour. And one of our neighbors opened up her home. We provided all of the drinks and beverages. And thank you, Mike. You and your wife, Deborah, were there. So it was really fun. You can see that was the middle picture. We engaged about 30 people. It just was, something we just tried, and it cost us a lot of money. A lot of people usually have a little wine or beer in their house, and they donated it. And then, of course, we do Yard of the Month. We just had a new sign printed out. We're really excited about that, and we'll be trying to make that a little bit more of a bigger deal by all of us going and recognizing that neighbor, getting them hopefully to come to our meeting so they can be recognized as Yard of the Month. And then, of course, Kara does a nice job of putting them up on Instagram and Facebook. Next slide. So NAPC, as some of you know, I serve as vice president for NAPC. And over the last year and a half, we really talked about what does it mean to be good partners with each other. We all struggle with engagement. We all struggle with raising money and doing events and having volunteers. And so this year, it was really nice to see us sort of make sure that any NAPC event, whether it be 4th of July, whether it be fundraising, we really want to make sure that across the board that all of our neighborhoods are involved in those events. And so you're going to see more of that as we start to partner more, especially in neighborhoods that, like Mango Groves, for example. They are really getting rejuvenated and they need our assistance. And so we're active. We're going to be out there. We're going to be knocking on some doors. We've got some fun events coming up in College Park for the fall. As I mentioned, October, we'll have trivia night. We also will do another block party on October 12th. And we are doing something a little unique in fall, in November. We are going to have a backyard beer and garden tour. So it'll be on November 9th, and it will be in the afternoon. You know, we laugh. We're not quite downtown Jewel with Flossing, but we're not quite the cottage tour either. So we wanted something a little in between. And right now, we're in the process of identifying our neighbors that want to open up their backyards to us. You'll be able to buy tickets. And we'll have beer and wine served, obviously non-alcoholic as well, and snacks for you to go. Our goal this year is to have at least 13 homes. So that's what we're shooting for, and tickets will be $25 for that event. All those monies will go back into the neighborhood, and then we'll go back to our association and figure out sort of how we want to spend those dollars. You know, we want to see you in our neighborhood. We've got a lot of new residents that we're trying to figure out how to get engaged. And so any input, you know, that you can share with us, we want them to not only be involved in the association, we want to see them here and become voters and support the city as we move forward into 2020. And I think College Park has got some great folks there that we just got to get them here and get them engaged. Thank you all for what you do. Please know you're always welcome at our meetings, and if you ever have any questions, please reach out to me directly. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, moving on to commission liaison reports and comments.
I won't say much, other than that this Friday we have Treasure Coast Regional Planning Council. Always excited about that, always learn a great deal. And sometime in late October, we're trying to schedule a date. The developer that won the CRA's RFP for the properties between Lake and Lucerne, west of Dixie Highway, is trying to schedule a meeting for both neighborhoods, Tropical Ridge and Royal Point Sienna. Technically, the property falls in Tropical Ridge, but I think of that island of property between Lake and Lucerne as a sort of demilitarized zone between the neighborhoods. I think it's important that if you care about what happens on that side of Dixie within the core of the city that you come. So stay tuned. We're trying to get that scheduled.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just a couple of quick things for the city manager. We're again seeing an uptick in graffiti down in the south end, particularly under the 95 overpass. And with all the weather we've had recently, potholes are really starting to become more than just potholes. Folks are actually taking up residence, and some of the potholes are that big. So please, if you could give some attention to that area. Also, I had a really great opportunity and a wonderful experience here a week or so ago. In fact, it was 2 Sundays ago. I was invited to attend the 90th anniversary of the celebration of the Grant Chapel Church in the Osborne community. It was an absolutely beautiful service, and spiritually speaking, it was very uplifting and moving, and I didn't realize that church has been in our community for 90 years. So when you think about that, I think they may have the record for being the oldest established church here in the city of Lake Worth Beach. And as I said, it was just a wonderful service, and I'm just so proud of the idea that church has been able to maintain itself after 90 years. One thing I didn't ask the city manager, and I was remiss in this, but I'd like to ask him now, and if the city commission would oblige me, please. I think it would be very nice if we maybe come up with a proclamation to celebrate that achievement for Grant Chapel and their congregation. So maybe we could do that as quickly as possible and invite the elders and any other church members that want to come and present that to them. That's all I've got. Thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Robinson.
I want to congratulate Leisure Services for their awards and all their great work in celebrating Lake Worth Beach. I want to make sure that everybody has contributed as much as they can to the Bahama, recovery charities. There's a lot of them. PBSO is having a golf tournament on November 2nd, and I'm wondering if the commission would like to sponsor or at least get involved in contributing to that, because they bring it right back to the kids in Lake Worth. I'm not going to be available for coffee tomorrow morning at the bookseller. I'm disappointed, but look forward to the next week, Wednesday at 9:30. And I want to thank Lindy for her presentation. interesting to hear that the awareness of Airbnbs sometimes isn't that apparent. And that's an activity in Lake Worth that we have to take the good and the bad with. And also with Lindy's participation in NAPC, the cooperation between the neighborhoods has been really something that is going to make Lake Worth a better city. I think that's it.
Thank you, Vice Mayor.
Okay, a lot going on. I'll try to make it brief. So I attended the BDB, Business Development Board. I sit on their board representing Palm Beach County, Dave Kerner. And also I attended the Mayor's Literary Guild, luncheon with the mayor. Sober Home Task Force is tomorrow. I sit on their board. And then also South End Grant with PBSO is tomorrow. So we'll be meeting tomorrow morning on that. Also, I want to do a big shout out to the special events team. Lauren, Emmett, Silvio, and Josue. I always get that wrong. Commissioner Robinson alluded to it, but there were over 500 applicants, and we were one of 50 chosen. We got first place in event photo Independence Day celebration photo by Sean Moss. We got first place outdoor signage, Lake Worth Avenue Block Party, billboard, and that's by Ben Kerr. Second place promotional marketing poster and Nutcracker Holiday Parade. Second place Facebook Street Painting Festival. Second place Instagram Street Painting Festival. And third place outdoor signage street painting billboard by Ben Kerr. So again, I want to thank Lauren and all her staff, Ben Kerr, for all that great work, putting us on the map. Upcoming events, we have Little Scream is our Halloween event, Friday, October 25th. That we will have a Halloween costume contest. We will do trunk or treat. It was so big last year, we're moving it to Bryant Park. We'll also have the zombie run with that this year. The zombie run is September 15th through October 18th is the registration date. And then the zombie run will be on that same day. All of this is on the city's website under events. We also have Youth Basketball League coming up. Early registration starts August 31st. Teen Night Out, Saturday, September 28th. Again, all this is on the website and or the city's Facebook page. Lake Worth Beach Bonfires start again. That's 6 p.m., 10 p.m., November 8th, December 13th, January 10th, and February 14th. Adult Basketball League registration, August 9th through the September 15th. And the Holiday Parade. The Holiday Parade this year is the Roaring 20s. So, Madam Mayor, you'll have to dig deep into your closet and pull out all of that. Just kidding.
Wow.
Thanks a lot, dude.
I was going to tell her I was going to do that, but I figured I might as well surprise her. Also coming up, the Smart Ride, sponsored by Compass, November 15th. Sorry, I couldn't resist. And also the 2020 census. We're always going to mention the 2020 census. The mayor heads up the team, but I've been working with Jess Savage behind closed doors. We were able to talk to Parrot Cove last night. We'll be taking it on the road and talking not only when the mayor visits, the city manager visits, I visit, and everyone else, and stressing how important the 2020 census is to the city of Lake Worth Beach and that everybody needs to be counted. So we look forward to coming out and speaking to everybody on a one-to-one and getting everybody involved. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Well, you guys knocked off some of my list, too. The Grand Chapel event was just beautiful. Thank you so much to the Vice Mayor Pro Tem for inviting me as his guest. And then I was introduced as his wife. It's really a humbling job, let me tell you, between the comments that come out of these guys.
We love you.
Thanks a lot. The Garcilosa de la Vega Daughters of the American Revolution are always doing a luncheon every single year and doing a lot of fundraising for different organizations in regards to protecting the Constitution. They have their Constitution lunch every single year, and I was fortunate enough to be there with our new supervisor of elections. Really interesting. They brought out all of the new election machines and equipment and things that are going on and the steps that are being taken by the supervisor of election to ensure that every vote counts. And it was a very enlightening presentation. Very nice to meet them. We've got the Florida TPA, the transportation planning, where all the roadway projects, all the money that comes into the county for road projects gets filtered out and it comes through the TPA for different road projects. So we're always there trying to fight for our city because a lot of the projects go into the unincorporated areas of Palm Beach County and we have a lot of road needs. So I'm there like a bulldog all the time. Speaking of being a bulldog for something, we have a group, an organization that, like so many of them here in our city, works extremely hard to protect our children. And in fact, they're called For the Children, and they provide VPK and after-school programs for our kids, especially some of the most neediest in our community. And they're having an upcoming event. If you'd like to dance and you'd like to play at the ballroom in the casino building, just a week from now, September 27th, or a little over a week from now, they're having the 20th anniversary gala, and they depend on the proceeds of these type of events because they're a nonprofit, tax deductible, to help out and plug. If you'd like information about that, please see me afterwards, or you can go to For the Children. I'm trying to think, did you see a website? Okay, just ask me or send me an email and I'll get you that information, or you can find it on our web. Some of the other things, we all made it through Dorian. Thank you, God, for letting it be a day off of work and not something more serious like our friends and neighbors are going through. I am working with staff to work on some relief projects that will go to our friends in some of the hardest hit areas of the Bahamas, and you'll be hearing more of that in upcoming meetings. But our thoughts and prayers go to them. Labor Day was certainly a very different kind of Labor Day this year, that's for sure. The literacy luncheon, we're getting our new book. I can't believe we don't have the new book. Thank you, Omu. Thank you, Omu. That's the book.
I had to write it down so we could remember.
That's the book that we're going to be reading this year to as many kids as we can get in front of. So if you've got groups, organizations, kids, we're a smaller city with less people. So some of the bigger cities, so we're kind of at that weird point where we're the smallest city in the big cities, and we're out of the small cities, so we can't compete. So if you've got a group or organization of little ones that definitely wants to have us read to them, we've got to get those numbers up. Whatever city reads to the most kids wins the category, and we get to take home bragging rights, pretty much.
And the book's right up the mayor's alley. Tell us a little bit about the book.
I'm not gonna they don't need to hear me talk anymore. So that's it for now. Thank you. Public participation of non-agenda items and consent agenda items. That's whatever's not on the agenda and something that you want to talk about going on in your community, or we're not going to talk about later on in the meeting. Just when you come up here and I call your name, if you can, please, it's just common formality to state your name and your address so that we have it for public record. They are on the cards, I hope, but we want to make sure that you say them aloud too so the people at home can know. Okay, first up, Assistant Ambassador Ron Hensley. Sorry, I looked at it. It looked like a U. And then the ambassador's next on deck.
Good evening, Mayor, panel. First thing I'd like to talk about is Greenway that was 8th Avenue North. I have noticed an awful lot of traffic that is still parking on the Greenway where they should be in their yards, and everywhere they just decide they want to park. I mean, they've got off-street park or on-street parking, they've got garages or whatever. They still insist on parking on the Greenway in the grass and everywhere else that they choose to do so. And at the beginning on A Street of that Greenway, there needs to be a crosswalk put there, because I watch the children every morning going to school, and they cut straight across that road right there on A Street, and they go on down to the school at that way. And there needs to be a yellow ADA pad put there as well at the end of that walkway, because it just empties straight out onto the street. So those are two things right there definitely that needs to be looked at over in that area. Alleyways is a whole nother story. Those are just plain out scary anymore. The storm drains, I have noticed, right before the storm, I know that they should be cleaned out well before a storm. And I specifically was watching one. And I kept figuring the city was gonna end up getting it, which they never did. Well, after it had flooded the street right there on North G Street, 7th Avenue North, I went out there and cleaned out so it could drain the pond that was out there beside it. And that's not the only one I've had to do that too also. Now, I don't feel it's up to the residents to have to clean up the city's mess. You know, that should be their department. It's nice if we can do it, but it's not our department to have to do that. And on that same street, 7th Street, there's a church there. Between 8, what is that? What is that? 8? Yeah, 8. 7th Avenue and H. That is getting to be a very dangerous area with their patrons and stuff on Sundays especially, and every night they have something that goes on there. There's constantly people doing U-turns in the middle of the intersections and parking in the bike lanes, so you cannot even go down there with the bicycle without having to get all the way out and crossing into traffic. I see them constantly blocking traffic to try to get for their own peace of mind, I guess. I don't know. But that needs to be addressed a little bit, I feel, because it's an accident getting really ready to happen, and along with the crosswalk up there on North A Street, because I didn't see a child get hit. God forbid something like that happen. And I watch the monitor, so just to keep an eye out. The only other thing I'd really like to ask a question on is why it seems like as the ambassador and me as the assistant ambassador, we have no respect in this city. When it comes to the city staff, they evidently don't know who we are. And they don't realize we don't answer to them. We answer to Tallahassee. And Tallahassee is becoming very well known as to what's going on. So I think that needs to be addressed to all these staff members, that we are the ambassadors and we do deserve the respect that comes along with an ambassador.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
And good evening, everyone. Good evening, residents. As the ambassador of the City of Lake Worth, I'm also an advocate for the City of Lake Worth. I'm also an advocate for the American Disability Act. I'm also worked on the board of Board of County Commissioners of Quality Improvement. I'm going through Tallahassee and so forth and talking with them. They always ask for the ambassador's opinions because I'm just not an ambassador. I'm a resident, just like everyone that is sitting in this room. And being that I was born and raised here in Lake Worth, I've been seeing a lot of changes in our city. And that is with staff for one. I've been noticing, like on garbage pickups, on days of garbage pickup, we have a lot of garbage that is just blowing all over our city. And it's been addressed to staff again. Nothing's being done about it. And this is residents and visitors that have to look at this. Plus, we also are going to be having our northern visitors and residents be coming in soon. And as a resident and as an ambassadors, we try to make the city as clean as possible. And if I see a piece of paper anywhere, if I can, I will pick it up and put it in the trash. And that's the way we do. As far as everything else goes with the city, I'm seeing a lot of the homeless population taken over. Also go to the Palm Tran meetings. Again, they say it's up to the city. Well, it's not up to the city, it's Palm Tran. Well, they finally got most of the bums off our seats because of our transit in the city. People couldn't even sit down on the bench to wait for a bus because we had the homeless taken over. Now that seems to be cleaning up because of Palm Tran. Thank goodness on that one. As far as other things I'm seeing in the city, right now in our district, which is, I'm at 728 North A Street, sorry for on the record.
Thank you.
Parkinson's does kick in once in a while. I've been noticing, I'm seeing a lot of commercial vehicles, and that is truckers. A dump truck is parked right now. We just had a road on the View and A, brand new road put in for the resident, brand new sidewalks. We have a dump truck that sits there now. Diesel's going and it's leaking. Now we're going to have a pothole. You know, this is what I'm saying, and we have mentioned it to code, we mentioned it to different people, but nobody's gotten back. Thank you, and that's all I have to say for the evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Andrew, I'm sorry, I can't read. Is it Lake Andrada? Ah, not bad, huh? Thank you. Followed by Todd Townsend after that on deck.
Well, Lake Worth, I want to thank y'all. This is my first time speaking here. We live on 122 Detroit Street, which is between Lake Worth Road and Lake Osborne. So the issues we're having is, and I see this throughout all the city, and I want to ask everyone, like with a show of hands, like how many people?
You know what?
You can do that?
No, you
I'm
can't
sorry.
do it. I'm
Well,
sorry.
okay, well.
You have to direct everything to me. I get to be.
Okay,
I get
well,
to be.
a show of whatever. How many people have been affected with the prostitutes, the drug dealers, the drugs, and all that? And so, I've never dealt with so much police in my life on their side, because normally they've always had to deal with me. So, you know, and I brought my son here because I'm really affected by the safety of my neighbors, and my neighbors came here to back me up, because I know if it's just one person, it just sounds like a pissed off neighbor. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of times, like with the drug dealers and all that, like I think most people are afraid to turn them in out of fear of retaliation. You know what I mean? And I think that if we can band together with whatever resources we can get, you know, I think we can start cleaning these streets up, at least one dealer at a time. You know, because it's gotten to the point where we've called them, they come out, talk, and I'm like, look, you know, it's only a matter of time before it gets physical. And I'll do anything I can to protect my family. And so I had an incident yesterday where they beat up a young lady, and and I have all this stuff recorded, right? And she's lying to the cop or whatever. So I told the cop, I said, look, man, let me show you the real story. So her and a bunch of dudes came out and they threatened to, you know, jump all over me. And so the issues I'm having with the particular cops is that we had a guy that was staying in our apartment complex, and now that particular apartment was empty. I'm not justifying that. I know he's not supposed to be there, but he wasn't a drug dealer. He wasn't a drug user. He was just staying in an empty apartment, right? They were on this guy like white on rice. They got him out of there quick, as soon as he showed face. But we're battling with these prostitutes and drug dealers every day. And because I put my face out there one-on-one with this particular drug dealer, he knows my address, right? He sees me. And so I don't understand. Every time the police come out there, everything they say is, there's nothing we can do. There's nothing we can do. They threaten me in front of everyone, and all they say is there's nothing we can do. But you'll get a man sleeping in an empty room for nothing. So I'm asking the police to tighten up.
Thank you.
And help us out. So thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Todd Townsend, followed by Kurt Reynolds.
Hey friends, Todd Townsend, 502 South J Street. I wanted to come in tonight and talk about the penny sales tax. There's a difference between decadent spending and investment spending. Decadent spending is when you spend your money, you get nothing out of it. Maybe you spend it on a road, you drive on that road, it doesn't raise anybody's property value. Investments, this is the case for investment spending. I'm going to be putting a lot of these out for the public to help our commission to decide that this is what we should do with the rest of our $16 million. And possibly we should actually ask the CRA for some of our money back so that we can complete this program. This program is going to lift us up in every way. So let's not do decadent spending, let's do investment spending. So check this out. I'm going to put a lot more copies of this out. Let's get together and help our commission to make the right decision. Thanks, everybody. Love you.
Thank you. Kurt Reynolds, followed by Lisa.
I'm Kurt Reynolds. I'm Drew's next door neighbor at 122, and we've been battling this crack house, and it's right below us for about almost 2 months.
Kirk, I think.
And like he says, there's nothing they can do. We heard somebody get the holy, you know what, eat out of them. They left the apartment, came back, threw a brick through it, the cops come and nothing happened. You know, I found a baggie with blow down there, you know, handed it to the cops. We don't know if there's anything gonna happen from that. Saturday morning, I was sitting down having coffee at 5 in the morning. Between 5 and 6 o'clock, there was 15 different people that went in and out of that house. Different. I mean, we got to do something. We need some help. And if you guys can do anything to help us, we really would appreciate it. I mean, that's all my neighbors right there. And like I said, we got our hands tied. They can't do nothing. You know, like you said, the guys have more rights than we do. So if you guys got anything that you can do to help us, we really appreciate it. You know, thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Lisa also asked me to read this, requesting the police provide solution to drug transactions at our front door numerous times daily. Thank you. Retha Lowe, followed by Anna Maria Windisch-Hunt.
Lisa was Detroit.
Yes.
Good afternoon. I just have a few things. I'll start with bad days.
Trouble with the microphone.
I called and reported it, but I really don't understand what has happened, so we need someone to get out there and find out what is going on. Wingfield, down at the south end, right at Lantana, someone looked like they drove a truck through there, and the fence has been broken now for a month. I've called and reported it to Jamie Brown's department, and it's still down. So we like to know whether you're gonna take it down and let trucks come in from Lantana to Lake Worth, or whether someone ran into it. We need to take care of it. And I would appreciate it if you do. I'd like to give a shout out to the great job that you're doing in District 1 as far as the red tag. I want you to continue. So whoever says, argue about stopping it, come and see me. Continue it in District 1. Also, I'd just like to talk about a couple of events that we're having here. On October 6th at 2 p.m. at St. Andrews there at Lakeside in Lucerne, we're having a scholarship fund program for MLK for our scholarship recipient concerning, it's going to be the Mahalia Jackson production. So we'd like for you to come and help us out there. That's October 6th at 2 p.m. Also, our Lake Worth Beach Jazzy Seniors. Lake Worth Beach Jazzy Seniors. That's a program that we have here in the city of Lake Worth on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 10 to 1 at the Osborne Community Center. All is welcome. Just because we say seniors, that's 55 and over. We will take you. We're putting on an event Saturday at the Osborne Center at 5:30, and it's a fundraiser for us. It's a talent and fashion show, and we would love for you to come and help us out. We are raising funds for our October 24th trip. We're getting ready to go to Tennessee, and this is another one of our fundraisers. So we'd like to have you come and join us if you can. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anna Maria Windisch-Hunt, followed by Javier Del Sol.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, City Manager, my wonderful commissioners. They say third times is a charm, so let's see if it works. I'm here about the CRA. This is the third time. I would really, really appreciate it if you would get them to come back into these chambers on the other days when you're not meeting, the other Tuesdays. I've attended their meetings. I cannot hear what they're saying. The acoustics are terrible. And they're in charge of a lot of our property that's worth millions of dollars, and none of our residents are aware of what they're doing. Now, we also have something I brought along. These people have been trying to reach us, and they just opened up in Delray. It's free, it's transportation, and it's sponsored by the CRA. No tipping required. They're in Delray, they're in Doral, they're in Coconut Grove, they're in West Palm Beach, even though they have a trolley. And so I wanted to bring this to your attention because maybe one of you has an influence with the CRA. They're handling our money. But seriously, I really want you to move them over here because we have no idea what they're doing. I have gone to the city to get their minutes. They're 3 months behind. And so basically, that's where I'm at. All right. Thank you so very much. Have a lovely evening.
Thank you. Javier Del Sol, followed by Tammy Panza.
Good afternoon. Is this working? Yes, it is. Good afternoon. My name is Javier Del Sol. I've been a resident of this town for 42 years. I've been on many boards and attended many meetings. And there's a saying among Quakers about making room on the bench for others. So I took a sabbatical for many years, and I like to see other people get more involved. That's great. My concern tonight is that I went to the library this morning, and I found out that they're reducing the hours and reducing the staff. I was on the library board for about 8 years, I think, and we wanted to expand that. At that time, in my opinion, my humble opinion, there was a lot of swindling going on, corruption in this body, not this commission, in this body at that time. That's why the Lucerne Arms is there instead of expanding the library. That's what we proposed, and it didn't happen. Okay, we accepted that. They said they're going to increase the tax base. Okay, we accepted that. We had a tacit agreement with this body that the library would expand its services and go on a little library bus, go around town and do that stuff. Never happened. So now you're reducing the hours and reducing the staff. Don't know why you're doing it, but I'd like to see some answers from the city manager, the commission, the mayor. Why is this happening? I'd love to see a proposal tonight, that pass it by 5-0, that you bring back the staff and increase the hours and not reduce the hours. My other issue is the homeless. We help the homeless as much as possible. For the grace of God, go I or you. It could be you. And I'll tell you, we help the homeless in Utah, in the state of Utah, mainly Republicans and Mormons, not just for a moral ethical issue, but for a bottom line. They bought houses. They eliminate homelessness, and they bought houses for people. They provide all the social services because the last thing that happens is that the bottom line, it costs more costly, most cost effective to get people on anything else. Okay, just keep that in mind. As for the CRA, my folks, I've been tracking that CRA since first starting this town. They were doing a lot of hanky-panky stuff downtown, giving a lot of money to the business people. I saw the commission, that board and the CRA here give themselves loans. Okay, I complained, everything else. Citizens, it took direct action. Yes, we disrupted the meeting and they changed course. I'm on record, you'll see it there, changed. They changed course and they applied for their grant. Was it $37 million? Yes, they eliminated blight and poverty in this town, not just helping the business people, which is good, trickle-down theory, but that's just a theory. So that's it for me. The library is my major concern. I'd like you guys to take steps, my dream, take a vote tonight, give the city manager direction, because you are our leaders, our representative leaders here, and we're telling you very loud and clear, I'm going on Facebook on this, it's very important, we do not reduce those hours. We have a lot of people that need those services all times at hours. Thank you very much. Good night.
Thank you. Ms. Panza? Are there any more public comment cards after this one?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
Hi there, Tammy Panza, 116 North L. I just want to touch base, as always, on the city website. I've asked recently for a lot of updates from the advisory boards, et cetera. I haven't received those, and it's been weeks. Some of them have been very helpful with sending them to me, others have not. I've also asked why the ADA compliant agendas that you have provided are not starting a new archive on the website. I'm wondering why that information is not there. I look at this as if a new person who hasn't been involved with anything in the city wants to find out what's going on, and the homepage is wholly not intuitive. No one can find out what's going on. It's almost being done deliberately. You have this strange names instead of business or housing or recreation. It's got some other strange name. You can't find it. So I look at it, I try to look at things as a new person. And if you guys do the same, just a blank slate, try to navigate that, and you're not being helped in any way at all. And me trying with vicious tenacity to get information, like I've requested agendas from the CRA, et cetera. I haven't gotten that yet. Various advisory boards, commission meeting agendas. Some of it's been really helpful, others just crickets. I also wanted to talk a little bit about the cottages on South L and South M. I just saw the picture of the proposed development there. It's this huge, really large. You want to say something?
I'm not allowed
Okay.
to say anything.
Yeah, just the shaking of the head. I saw it, it's out there now. I've been asking for information and updates since the last time it was proposed, which I have not received any updates at all. If I ask, you guys should comply. You know, I don't know how else to do it. But what goes in the downtown should not be this huge, big monstrosity that ruins the charm of our downtown. And I see that picture, it's just posted, and it's really huge. It's not charming. It's actually rather obnoxious. And I really also want a public something that if people want housing, if people want a house, one of those cottages, they're willing to give them away if you want them. I want it out there that somebody could come and move one of those. There's plenty of empty lots around. And so far, again, I've been told by a commissioner that there's an organization that takes care of that, which wasn't actually true. And that was the last time it came out. So this has to be put out to the people. We have to decide what we want in our downtown. And along with the other thing up at the pool, we're supposed to get a presentation on what these things are supposed to be, what we're supposed to be accomplishing in all these places, but it just seems to be going on and on and on and on and on without decisions being made and without sharing the information to the public so that they can have input. So I ask that you please upgrade your responses to the people's emails, requests, getting information out there online, getting archived agendas that are ADA compliant, put on the website. So thank you.
Going to move on to approval of the minutes, and I'm going to have to pass the gavel because I have a change. So I'd like to propose.
Okay, so we're on the approval of the minutes. Madam Mayor,
I just wanted to correct in the minutes.
Yeah, I think you have to take a motion first,
So
and then
moved.
you can change it, and then the vote will show that you've changed it.
Second.
okay, we have a motion and a second. Madam Mayor?
Okay, we were talking about the pool, and it goes through a bunch of things. There was a lot. We had 20 minutes or 25 minutes of conversation
Which minutes?
It's
about.
talking
on
about
page
the work
11.
session on the August 19th.
I just wanted to make sure that it keeps mentioning this, that was mentioned, and I rewatched part of it, but I want the city clerk to rewatch part of it too, so we can approve part of it here. But I had said up to was the comment in the last and final round. I was not suggesting an amount as the exact amount, but was actually stated was up to that amount. So I don't want it referenced as a specific number when I still thought that there was work to be done and leeway to be made.
Okay.
I just wanted to
Do you
clarify
want
that for the record.
do you want to approve B and C, and then we'll bring back section A at the next meeting?
That's fine with me.
Okay,
Then everyone will have time to read it over?
maker of the motion
See, yes.
Yes.
and our second? Okay with that? Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oh.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right, consent agenda, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all those in favor state so by saying aye.
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 All those opposed, motion carries unanimously. We're gonna move on to public hearings, which is resolution number 47-2019. Issue a revocable permit for the property located at 701 South End Street.
So moved.
Second? Second?
Second.
Second, do we have any public comment cards on this?
No, Madam Mayor.
Seeing there are none, all those in favor state so by saying aye.
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 All those opposed, motion carries unanimously. We're going to move on to new business. This is item 12A. Vote to ratify consensus reached at the August 19th work session to use penny sales tax funds for a pool at the casino complex brought forth by Commissioner Robinson.
Move to ratify. Move to ratify.
Second?
That would be a so moved.
Can I second it? As bringing it forward?
The attorney?
You can second it.
I did,
Okay.
if I can, if I may.
Vice Mayor Pro Tem?
Madam Mayor, there's no backup on this. No backup material whatsoever on this agenda item. And I find it wholly inappropriate to have, what kind of a vote are we taking here? It's not binding. Why are we doing this? Can somebody help me out here?
Commissioner Robinson?
Well, if you were at the workshop, was that back up enough? I mean, this is another step towards making a decision. It's a tough decision. It's a decision that has to be made. We have put it off and are continuing to put it off. And we came to a consensus about a pool at our oceanfront park. And if we would vote on it, that reaffirms to the community that we're moving towards a pool at our oceanfront park.
Madam Mayor.
The longer we put this off, the more issues will come up, the more items that different departments are going to put on a list of needs. And if we didn't get this gift of the penny sales tax, we wouldn't be talking so much about the casino park. But we have it. It's totally different than a budget item. It is not a budget item. It's money that we are responsible to spend wisely. I'm very interested in spending it wisely. If you don't want to talk about it, or if you don't want to vote for it, then don't. But allow us, the commission in whole, to move forward with a decision.
Madam Mayor, if I may.
Vice Mayor Pro Tem?
As I said at the beginning of this, this is kind of, I can't find the right word for what this item represents. It's certainly not something that is normal. I mean, well, how do you, so are we committing, Commissioner Robinson? Is that your intent?
Yeah, yes.
Well, let me read you the
One at a time, please.
let me read the definition of consensus. A generally accepted opinion or decision among a group of people. You do not have a generally accepted opinion among a group of people on this issue.
And that's why I'm calling for a vote, because if we are a body of
All right,
five.
you guys, you're not going to go back and forth, and you're not going to ask questions to one another. Please state what you'd like to say. Then I'll let the commissioner talk about it.
As the item reads, Madam Mayor, he's looking to vote on a consensus that does not exist.
Make your argument and
Okay, well, then I'll make my argument. The other thing, I'll just give you the whole thing. First of all, the expectation of our residents is that we address critical basic infrastructure with the sales tax money, not nice-to-do items, okay? Spending $10 million or more at the beach is not only foolhardy, but it's fiscally irresponsible. And Commissioner Robinson, I think I just heard you say that you'd like to get this, ratified in some form or fashion before staff has an opportunity to bring forth real capital needs that they need around the city, like a public services building, there are a number of items that were taken out of the general fund budget because we didn't have the funds for capital this year. So what you're saying publicly, you just said it 10 minutes ago. You said that you want to get this pushed through before staff has an opportunity to bring forth the items that they need capital funding for. So the other thing I want to do too is kind of take us back maybe 6, 8, 10 months here and remind ourselves that our collective priorities, when we were asked to prioritize our needs for in terms of infrastructure, have always been roads. And somehow 12.5 people come into City Hall and plead their case because they want a pool, and now we're having a real conversation about spending the lion's share of sales tax money on a pool that serves 36 people, and we've got people out there that don't have roads at all. We have people out there that are waiting to get their roads fixed, okay? So, we raised taxes, we raised fees. We saw the impact of raising fees just the last time we met, just over $2, the impact it was having in some parts of our community. I don't think this commission is going to be looked upon very favorably if you go out there and drop, $10 million on a pool. That doggone building up there is a fiasco. You have commented many times, Commissioner Robinson, about how much of a disaster, financial disaster it is. Dropping another $10 million in the beachfront is not going to yield us a better financial result. Okay, so, again, I want to plead to my colleagues here that I don't know what the point of this issue is, but I need a legal opinion as to whether it's binding, because frankly, this is highly irregular. If we had an item that specifically said we need X amount of dollars for X amount of project, that's one thing. But just to pluck a number out of the sky and say, we're going to, in theory, we're going to agree to this and we'll worry about the details later, is not the way you govern. And that is not the way our residents expect us to lead their city.
Commissioner Robinson?
Well, it's been an underperforming asset from day one. You recognize that from day one. We've had 6 years to ignore 8,000 square feet of productive space up there. If you want an underperforming asset to increase income, you have to invest in the project. There is no way that I don't want any department to come forward with their needs in the budget. This penny sales tax is separate from the budget. We should be budgeting on a management level all the capital improvements of our needs. The lion's share is not even half of the penny sales tax that we're going to get. So this is an investment in our future. And I don't know how you can definitely say that any investment will result in no income. I didn't know.
That's not what I said.
Well, could you clarify that it wouldn't be worth an investment? I think that if we're not willing to invest in ourselves, I wouldn't expect any outside investor to come into our town and see a derelict property up there that is grossly underperforming, underutilized, and to me, an embarrassment to have an empty pool for more than 2 years, and empty space that's used for street sign storage. I just, that's the part of this project that has taken us to the pool. The pool has taken on its life of its own. The community deserves a pool, wants a pool. We have the ability to provide a pool. The process has been flawed from day one. The mistakes at the casino project are expensive. And I want to move very carefully in our next step to improve it over there. The process of having one-on-one conversations with management, and then management going to the architect and providing information that has been third person, fourth person, is certainly the least efficient way to develop any project. This need, I'm ready to start over, and we've already committed $290,000, and that we weren't part of that commitment, but we have committed to improve the casino park property. And if we have to go back and relook at every detail, I'm ready to do that together as you recognizing that you don't want to invest anything in it, And I'm ready to invest enough money to put everything that's up there to good use. And the rest of us can agree or not, but we have to move forward. It's an example of government at its worst when it's separated and the decision has been ignored. I'm frustrated, and the recognition that this penny sales tax is there to take us out of what should have been capital improvement money is not the best way to spend. And inheritance money always brings out the worst in families. I think I've been around long enough to know that the greed of siblings is unbelievable when it's unearned. The budget is earned money, needs to be spent wisely. We need to decide and make a step forward. This vote, if it's 3-2, so be it, but it's moving forward. And that's why I brought it forward.
Madam Mayor.
Commissioner Hardy?
Sure.
I have more. I don't want to go around for 30 minutes and then have to try to catch up with the conversation.
You're next.
Thank you.
Okay. Some issues, some myths, and then a reminder that I teach middle school, the main idea. The two issues that I have is, one, there's no backup. I don't put that on Commissioner Robinson. The city manager and I had a conversation previously. It's my belief that it's the job of the city manager and staff members to support commissioners in carrying out their job. And it's my belief that if a commissioner comes to the city manager and says, I would like to place an item on the agenda, that it's the city manager's job to figure out how to put backup in there, whether it's a single sentence that says, hey, this is what it's about. I don't put that on the commissioner. And I've had this conversation with the city manager previously. He knows my feelings about it. When a commissioner says that he wants something on the agenda and he starts talking, I think it's the city manager's job to start typing. That's my belief. The other thing is, it's been said that there was no consensus. And that's not true. I'm just sitting here looking at the minutes that were taken, and I counted 4 people on this dais who wanted to commit penny sales tax money for the pool. I said that, as noted here in these minutes. No one objected to that when we just discussed them. It says here that Mayor Trillo spoke in favor of committing funds to the pool and finishing the project. It says here that Commissioner Amoroso said that we should spend $250,000 for the bus and whatever was left over for the pool and for roads. And Commissioner Robinson's position on the matter is well known. Consensus doesn't mean unanimity. At least when we're talking about representative bodies like this one, it simply means that a majority of the folks on the body have a general opinion about something that's pointing towards the same direction. And that's what I found watching that meeting again, participating in that meeting. It felt that there was a consensus to commit penny sales tax money for the pool. The minutes show that. No one objected to that in the minutes, even though we just had a discussion about them. Some myths about the pool. There's a belief that the pool works better on this side of the lagoon. And while I acknowledge that if the pool were on this side of the lagoon, it'd be closer to most people by about half a mile. The pool isn't necessarily inaccessible at the beach. I, for one, when I first moved here, lived about as far west as a person could live in Lake Worth, almost. I ran to that beach. Didn't take me long. I am not an Olympic runner. It's accessible. It's actually a mile from this building. That's accessible. But the other thing is, people say, oh, we should move the pool to this side of the lagoon. You guys, on the other side of the lagoon, we have this thing called parking revenue. And it makes the beach fund a lot of money. And it's what supports all of the loss-making activities that happen at the beach. Without the parking revenue, nothing at the beach could happen because we'd have no money for it. And so if you were to move that pool from where it is at the beach, and you were to move it to the golf course or to Bryant Park, or in between Lake and Lucerne somewhere, where is the money to make up for the operating losses that the pool is undoubtedly going to run? I have been to nearly every municipal pool in the county. It was one of the first things I did. I went with Lauren Bennett and with the gentleman whose name I'm forgetting. He runs all of our lifeguards out there. Doug Yoakum. We went to every pool you can imagine. We went all the way up to Jupiter. We went all the way out west to Wellington, Royal Palm, Calypso Bay, all of that. They all lose money. The best pools in the county lose money. Lake Lytle loses more than $500,000 a year. Wellington loses a similar amount. And so pools are going to lose money. The question is, if you can have a pool at a place that has revenue to make up for the money that it loses, why would you move it from there to somewhere where there is no revenue opportunity to support that pool? That's a reason for the pool to be at the beach and not on this side of the lagoon. And again, it's not completely inaccessible. I see people every day walking across that bridge, biking across that bridge. I very slowly now run across that bridge. It's not Mars. It's the other side of the lagoon. The other thing, a myth I would like to debunk, and it's a myth that I subscribed to when I first moved here, that no one used the pool. I had Lauren Bennett and Doug Yoakum run the numbers for our pool and compare those numbers to the other pools. Our traffic was around 12,000, 13,000. The other pools, like the county-owned one in Jupiter, around 20,000. Wellington around 20,000, Lake Lytle around 20,000. The only difference is our pool was open half the hours. So Wellington, their pool is literally open 60 hours a week. It's insane. But their pool is open 60 hours a week. And from the extra 40 hours that their pool was open, they only increased their traffic by about less than 100% of hours, right? So they have 3 times the hours as ours. Ours was open around 20 hours a week, theirs 60. They had double the traffic. So, I would look at it like this. For the hours that the pool was open, our pool had more traffic than other pools for the hours that they were open. I think a business person might look at it that way. I'm inclined to look at it that way. So I've gone over some issues. I've gone over some what I feel are myths. I'm going to get to the main idea here, and that's democracy, right? So I am not from this town. I didn't grow up here. I moved here 6 years ago. And when I moved here, I did not understand why people felt so strongly about having a pool, particularly when the resources of this city are very different than the resources of other cities that have pools. Boynton Beach, much more in the way of resources. Wellington, Palm Beach Gardens, the county. I didn't understand it. I didn't understand why we felt the need to have a pool at the beach. Didn't get it. But at some point, it's my job to execute what I perceive to be the will of the majority of people who care to make themselves known here in this city, rather than question that will. And I'll give you an example. A few months ago.
Power rule.
Okay. Well, we can make a motion to extend the discussion if need be. But just a few months ago, I brought forward an issue about ADUs. And someone came forward with a petition, and they said, this petition has almost 500 signatures. This is evidence of the people's will. that the people are against ADUs, and most people said, you know what? Yeah, most people in the audience said, yeah, that told the story. The author of the petition is in the back. That tells the story. Almost 500 signatures against ADUs. We got to listen to these people. About a year prior to that, or was it 6 months? Gosh, I feel like time moves so slowly. Someone brought forward a petition with 800 signatures for the pool. If we say that a petition with 400 signatures against something is hard evidence that we shouldn't do that thing, what does a petition of 800 signatures that's for something, what is that? We had 800 people sign a petition that said that this is what they want. These people are residents of the city, residents of this area. Are we not to listen to them? We don't have to understand. Comprehension is not a requisite of cooperation. We don't have to understand them in order to listen to them. And that's a part of our job, because it's those folks who make us important, who put us on this dais. And so I think, A, there was consensus. B, the pool isn't as bad an idea as I first thought when I moved here. And C, regardless of these things, the people in the city have asked us to do this. And it's our job to execute their will. So.
Okay, I'm gonna let you guys have been going back and forth, which means you've taken all the time. You know, we're all supposed to be able to discuss this, so please, you had your light on for quite some time, Vice Mayor Pro Tem, but I'm just, we'd all like to talk too, instead of have you guys bicker back and forth.
You consider this bickering?
No, debating.
I don't think $10 million is something to bicker over.
Debating.
So let me debunk some of the myths myself. First of all, let me try to deal with Commissioner Hardy's comments first, because, as what happens so often around here is we talk and we talk and we talk, and sometimes we actually forget about what the heck we were talking about to begin with. The idea that pools lose money, we all know that. We all know that. So what does Lake Lytle, which is a county pool, and Wellington, which is a municipal pool, and Lake Worth Beach have in common economically? The answer is nothing. The county has a budget of how much, City Manager?
Billions.
Billions of dollars. They can absorb losses at one swimming pool. They can absorb that. They have billions and billions and billions, that's billions with a B, to subsidize that type of a loss. Wellington has a budget of $49 million, their general fund budget. It's 50% more than our budget. What does Wellington have in common with Lake Worth when it comes to economics? Not much. They can afford to give something out to the community that's going to lose money. The problem we have here isn't the idea that the pool loses money. It's the idea that we are willing to spend millions and millions of dollars so we can continue to lose more money on the beach at the expense of critical infrastructure that people have been begging for 50 years. What are you going to tell? What is the majority of this commission going to say to the residents who were expecting roads when they don't get their road? What are you going to say to the folks that wanted sidewalks so the kids can walk to school safely and they don't get sidewalks? Don't worry about it. The pool, let me give you a pass to the pool. Go exercise. This notion that parking revenue somehow is going to be impacted, but I don't even know how we get on the conversation about moving the pool from the ocean front to the mainland. I don't know how we got there, but I'll go there because it was brought up. Your argument was, well, if you move the pool to the mainland, then we're going to lose parking revenue. How much parking revenue can you lose for 36 people a day? How much parking revenue can you possibly lose when only 36 people use that pool? And I know some of the people that use that pool and they take their bicycles.
That's not what I said.
That's what you said.
Quiet, please. Thank you.
Now, let me get back to the other comment that was made about the city manager's job. In some ways, I agree with you, Commissioner Hardy. It is staff's, part of staff's job to help us with backup.
Yeah.
But this is not an item that staff can, come into a room and come up with backup for. This is a personal, emotional issue brought forth by one of us, and that's fine. But I don't think you should lay this at the city administration's feet because there's no backup. That solely lies the responsibility of the commissioner who put the item on the agenda. And you know what? If you do believe that the city staff is supposed to do the backup and they don't have it ready for the meeting, then you either pull the item or you insist that the backup be included. Now, let's go back to Commissioner Robinson's comments after I had spoken earlier. First of all, I think he used the word derelict project for the beachfront. Derelict. Well, you know what? Most people, to the naked eye,
Or just taking a look at the time.
to the naked eye, and I've heard nobody say that there's, any aesthetic issues with the beach. Nobody said that. In fact, with all the issues we have structurally with the $6 million rehabilitated, restored casino building, nobody's come to me and said, hey, it looks like a derelict property. So it's not a derelict project. It's just a financially, it's a money pit, okay, that we've not been able to fix. The other point is, we've already spent bad money up there. Prior to building that $6 million building, I was the only one that warned everybody this was not going to work financially. The numbers don't work. You're going to lose your tail, blah, 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 blah. Nobody cared. Nobody cared. Nobody cared. And guess what happened? It's losing money, and we can't keep up with it. And what's the solution? We'll just raise the parking rates. That's our solution around here. Just raise it, raise taxes, do this. You know what? We're not a wealthy community. We are not a wealthy community. Just because you got a pipe dream does not give you the authority or the moral impetus, if you will, to say, well, we'll just raise taxes on everybody.
Point of
Okay.
order, just stick with the idea, please.
I am sticking with the order.
You're talking about taxes now.
Well, I am talking, because that's part of this.
Let's talk about pool. Go ahead,
And the other
finish the
thing,
conversation.
so now we're going to talk about spending put 10 million good dollars after 6 million bad dollars. Well, that makes a lot of sense. And actually, it wasn't $6 for those of you who've been paying attention. It was a lot more than $6 million because we got nickel and dimed all over town with that project. Now we got $1 million for lights. We deferred this over to the water fund, which you all are paying for, and extra fees. My final comment is this. I keep hearing that the people want this pool. The people want it, the people want it, the people want it. Okay, then I propose that if you feel that strongly about it, I think that something that of this dollar value should be put on the ballot for the people in the entire city to vote on. And if you don't have the courage to put it on the ballot, then we know that you just don't, you having a problem there?
These things aren't attached.
You can break your fingers doing that.
You know what? Last time I checked, I run the meeting. Hello. Commissioner Robinson, would you like a chance to speak? And then I'd like to weigh in with myself and the vice mayor.
I just, he was in, Commissioner Maxwell was in the idea of I would like your definition of filibuster. What time did we start the conversation?
We have about 5 minutes left.
5 minutes and 30.
If we started at 7 o'clock?
We have about.
Or if we're going to continue with billions and billions of dollars of conversation about the county, I'd like to establish that we could continue past a half-hour discussion.
Second.
There's no need to.
There's a motion on the floor already in a
No,
second.
this is a separate.
I understand.
Well,
Can I run the meeting, guys? I appreciate your passions, but let me go one at a time and follow the rules so everybody can be heard. City Attorney?
I guess I have a more basic question. You just approved the minutes from that August 19th meeting.
We didn't.
No, you didn't.
Okay.
They pulled.
Well, the August 19th meeting minutes that weren't approved, the last sentence says consensus was to bring the pool project back into the work session. So is that what the discussion is? You're voting as to whether to bring it back at another work session? Because that's what the consensus says in the minutes. So that's, I hate to say this, but it sounds like you're debating something that really wasn't clear from the minutes, at least, as to what the consensus was that day.
Commissioner Robinson?
Well, we had established a meeting on October 3rd that the September 19th meeting was diverted into a penny sales tax conversation. Now the October 3rd conversation has been eliminated. This is I can understand the administration's lack of real interest in coming to a conclusion on this, but and now we're putting it off some more. This just is not how people expect us to deliberate and come to a decision.
I'm trying to have clarity as to what the motion is that if you ever get to a vote on it, because if you're voting to ratify a consensus, that doesn't seem to be clear from the minutes what the consensus was, you may be just going in a circle. And I don't think any of you want to do that.
The consensus was to spend
No, it wasn't.
penny sales tax on the completion of the pool.
Point of order, there's a superseding motion and second on the floor.
Correct.
The superseding motion was to extend the meeting past 30 minutes. I seconded that motion.
That's what I was asking. you
Okay,
guys.
sorry about that.
Thank
I
you.
didn't hear the second. I'm sorry.
Yeah, the second is, can we make a motion, a superseding motion to extend the
Yes.
meeting while the motion is still on the floor?
Yes.
Okay, we've got a motion then to extend the meeting. We have a second on that. Was that made by you, Commissioner Robinson?
There are only 2 minutes remaining in the discussion.
I thought we started at 7, but anyhow,
I'm asking, you.
yes, I made the motion.
Yes, I did.
made the
All those in
motion.
favor state so by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries unanimously then. I don't hear any nays.
Thank you.
Excuse me, did you make a motion to extend for another 30 minutes, or did you make a motion to extend it? Okay.
So,
So you done?
well, I want us to work together to
Okay.
settle this problem that we have.
I think that, yes, did you want to finish that about the, I'm sorry, Glenn, did you want to finish about what the
No,
consensus is?
again, it might be helpful if there's clarity as to what exactly is the motion that you're going to ratify, because I can foresee that if this motion passes or fails, there'll be later a debate as to what was passed or failed.
Point of information? I mean, I know the answer, but who made the motion?
You did.
Okay,
You made a
so
motion
may I
to
clarify
ratify.
the motion that I made?
That's
And
what
the
I'm
person who seconded the motion can decide if that's what he seconded or not. Would that be the way to proceed?
Yes.
Okay, so I made a motion to ratify the consensus reached, and the consensus that I spoke of was the consensus to spend, to dedicate money from the penny sales tax fund to the pool, up to, and there all seemed to be consensus around $9.5 or $9.25 million. I think I said 9.5. The mayor said 9.25, according to the minutes here. And
That's being,
up to. Right,
to. Thank
right.
you.
And I can live with that up to. That's the motion that I made. Is that the motion that the commissioner from
Is that
District
the-
4
I'd
believes
like,
is
I'd like to
second?
ask these questions. Can I run this meeting? Or is it everybody just say whatever you want, whenever you want? I know.
I'm good with that.
I get it. We'll say whatever you want, whenever you want.
No,
Everybody? All right, I'm gonna interrupt. I'm gonna make motions all the time too. You're okay with that, Commissioner Robinson?
Well,
What Commissioner Hardy just said, and that was the motion he made. Was that what you seconded?
if I might throw a little mud into this.
How long?
I would, I don't want to spend, I don't want to spend $9 million on a pool. This is a underperforming complex asset park. And I'm quite comfortable that we can do a pool for a whole lot less than $9 million.
Okay, friendly amendment?
Friendly amendment, please.
Friendly amendment. When I say pool, I mean the area, including, the pool, that part of the beach casino area. We're talking about the oceanfront park, okay? That's what I meant when I say pool, because in the renderings that CPZ brought us, it included the pool, it included the casino building, so that's what I mean there. Is that something that you'd be willing to second?
I would really like to talk, you know? You guys are you're spinning around so much. I like, can I say something? I think we're all on the same page, and everyone, when we talk about consensus, you're trying to formalize something that I think that we had a lot of consensus for. The reason that the only way we've ever achieved anything, guys, and I've said this over and over again, is when we work together. And I thank Commissioner Robinson for just saying that, because that's how we get things done around here, okay? The issues have been with the pool itself, and then what we've tried to achieve. We don't want to be bad stewards of the taxpayers' dollars when it comes to not having a business plan. And those are everything we've been trying to fix up there had to do with bad. So, I mean, I'm trying to holistically look at this whole thing. If you were to ask me, hey, am I willing to spend sales tax money on a pool at the beach? I would say yes. Okay? Giving me the dollar amount or putting a specific dollar amount on it is not a smart decision until you know all the factors. And we also haven't looked into the business model that we touched on last time, which was having a business, another business up there running a business, operating a business that will generate revenue for us so we can afford to do things. Now, do we want to? And that's the conversation that we have to have. But that part there, would I commit to the pool portion of it? Because I don't want to slow the portion of having a pool up there either without having the business model. Is this a conversation that, with all due respect, we could have two lanes moving at the same time with talk about the pool to get the pool in so that this is not something that we're doing, and then start to talk about bringing people in to do an RFP or an RFQ or whatever, to talk about operating and not have us build out extra infrastructure on a business. You know, we keep underselling and undervaluing ourselves. We're oceanfront property that was going for $18 a square. Where the heck else in the world are people not going to pay $18 a square foot for oceanfront property to run a business directly between the I mean, we have to start looking at things like business people, and we also have to be a government that says we shouldn't be in certain businesses, but providing amenities for our community and for our citizens to have are things that we should do. The whole idea with me coming up and changing the talks of changing an aquatic center to a more resort-style pool was to include a business element. How would Lake Worthians use a pool? How would they be a part of it? Can you just give me a second? I've waited all night.
But there's a question about what exactly we're debating that hasn't been addressed yet.
Okay.
Because we don't know if he seconded the motion. I made a point of information. The point of information wasn't
We
clear.
shouldn't even be talking if he hasn't seconded.
I know.
Well, he seconded something. We're trying to figure out what he seconded. And this is the issue that the attorney raised.
But
and we haven't.
I think the mayor is trying to find this path.
Thank you.
Yeah, she's
That's
trying to find
what I
the path.
do, and it just spins and spins and spins. I need to get plates. Da, 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 da. The spinning plates on my fingers. No, this is what we can say. I think that the consensus should be that we can move forward with saying that we support using dollars there, not a specific amount of dollars. We can follow two paths at the same time to create a business plan that surrounds it and have an open conversation. There's been a lot of really good talk and a lot of really stupid talk from people of what they wanted to do there and whatever, but it's our responsibility to create an amenity, but also to be good, citizens of the dollar. So I think that we can continue on. I don't want any motion to stop the momentum. You know what I mean? We can be grown-ups here and have two conversations and still say we want a pool there, but while we're also looking for the funds to support another business opportunity at that pool to make it happen to something that Lake Worth would be happy with and that would still satisfy the swimmers and lap swimmers and whatever. We can do that, and people do it every day in other places. So I would be supportive of saying, yes, I support spending. I have no problem with saying I support penny sales tax dollars to be used at the pool. But I also support penny sales tax dollars to be used in other places, including infrastructures throughout the city. But can we start moving forward with this? I say yes, we can, together.
I don't know what we're talking about at this point. I don't support the motion that's on the table. I have lots of things to say, but
The motion on the table is which?
I don't support the motion on the table.
Which is?
I'm trying to figure it out. That's why I don't support it.
Okay, so the motion on the table, City Clerk, is?
I'm trying to figure it out myself, Madam Mayor. This is why I had a hard time with those minutes
Absolutely
that we have for August 19th. It's very difficult. No one really came to a consensus. You gave opinions and then didn't, the only consensus, you asked, excuse me, Commissioner Robinson, I apologize, but I've listened to this tape so many times. The last thing was you asked if we could commit $9.5 million to the pool. And the actual consensus was just to have another work session on the pool.
The word consensus was used at the end of the meeting.
Yes, sir.
To use the penny sales tax to complete the pool.
Yes.
It was
But
to
not
have,
allocate dollar amount.
but not an allocated dollar amount.
Okay, so which means we're going to have to compromise. And is compromise a bad word?
No.
It is absolutely not, and I apologize for the
Well-
confusion with these minutes, but it's a very difficult meeting. And again, tonight, I'm sitting here and I'm having a really tough time with this.
Well, that's why people are supposed to listen to me and actually not talk over each other so that we can actually do that. I could bang a gavel a lot and scream like a lot of other mayors do, and they curse and they yell. Some even put people in the stockade when they talk out from the meeting. I've heard a lot of interesting things over the course of the years. I'm trying to be, I respect you all as adults and whatnot. They do. They put them in the lockup down in the town south of us right now. I'll tell you that. But
That sounds good.
But we agree that consensus, the word consensus was agreed on to use the penny sales tax to complete the pool.
to discuss, well, the way it came down was that it was a discussion. Penny sales tax, do you support penny sales tax dollars to be used to create a pool with details to be discussed at an upcoming workshop?
And the word consensus was mentioned.
Yes.
Oh, consensus
remember
was
that.
mentioned a lot.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Whether or not there was any, that was the difference. I think there was at least, with no dollar amounts assigned to it, I thought that you had consensus with no dollars amount assigned to it.
Me?
Yes.
At that time, we had a conversation, and I made a lot of notes. And from day one, I said, "How you gonna pay for it?" As a small business owner, I can't buy strawberries if I can't pay for it. And I still go back. How you gonna pay for it? Where's the maintenance? Where is the I had a problem with allocating $10 million because if you remember what I said it's going to cost you a lot more than $10 million. And we can go back to, and there's a few people, Lori, I think you were here 11 years ago. Susan and Ozzie Ono might have been here 11 years ago when they allocated $6 million to a beach project. Well, we all know 11 years later, it's costing us a lot more than $6 million. I have a problem allocating any funds, whether I like the pool or not. I need a business plan that works on behalf of the taxpayers. And, you can shake your head all you want, but, it has to work on paper. And, you can say, oh, we're going to bring in more people and we're going to charge more money and we're going to make more money on parking. That's an if. I can't run a business on an if. And this in essence is, we haven't even talked about the other capital needs. We haven't talked about the basic needs, sidewalks, roads, all the other things that to me is a little bit more important than a luxury item. And, we talked about putting a pool on the west side. I truly believe that a pool should be on the west side closer to the children and the people that can use it because those people don't travel to the beach. However, I have a problem putting a pool on the west side with no budget item, with no way to pay for it. So, I just think that it's at this point, it's a flawed plan. We're throwing money at something that I think we're going to need a lot more money. And you heard me last time say, if you're going to build this nice, beautiful pool, you haven't even put chairs around it. You haven't put tables around it. Who's going to pay for that? And I remind people when we inherited the Snook Islands project, beautiful project, it's doing great things for the city. But 2 months after we inherited and we're sitting here, people came and complained and said, who's going to clean the docks? Nobody's, there's no pressure cleaning to clean up the bird crap. We had to find dollars for that because there was no maintenance plan included in that project. It was a beautiful project and we embrace it today. But we're still struggling with new budget items. So anything that we do up there, whether it's a pool, whether it's something else, we need to figure out how we're going to pay for it long term when we're all gone and where the budget line item falls into paying for it for long-term, the maintenance. You know, we're 10 years into a project now where we're looking at how we're going to pay for new air conditions. We can't fix the railings up there. Things like that are general maintenance things that we need. And we haven't even talked about other issues. We have a whole plethora of, you know, Benny's has fallen into the water. You know, the berm has issues. All this is other needs that we need to try to prioritize. So, you know, as much as I may want a pool up there, financially, we need to figure out how to pay for it. That's my 2 cents.
Commissioner Robinson?
I think that's a wise choice is to look to paying for it. We refuse to accept that we have marketable space and continue to talk about not even inviting an operator to pay for it. And if we have to give up whatever we have to give up to get an operator to build out, then at the end of that negotiation, we will start collecting run. If we do nothing, we're going to get nothing at the end of whatever period. You know, in 3 years, we can be giving concessions to an operator. At the end of 3 years, if we do nothing, which apparently at this speed it might happen, we will have nothing. We have a hood up there for a tremendous kitchen that is useless. It's a restaurant hood that's deteriorating because it's not being used. This whole park complex is just so underutilized. It's astounding that anybody else would sit on oceanfront property and not do anything with it. We can compromise on the pool. The community deserves, all right, it doesn't have to be a absolute resort. We can have a smaller pool and have it lush, have it landscaped instead of buildings to be attractive. We need, the process, the way it was, you know, I think we have the ability to compromise. I hope 5 of us can recognize that this thing needs to be moved forward. We need to start the process in a different way, not through individuals, talking to individuals and then coming back and saying, no, this is what he wants and that's what he wants. Let's be open about what we want and compromise together. But we need to move forward. So let's establish that this project needs to come to a completion. The second floor is just a waste, the way it is.
You know what, I'm not going to waste any more of our time. I'm going to go to the public and let them speak, please, because we've all argued, and we're sitting here arguing over a pool or not a pool or a pool or not a pool. We'll get back to that in a second. Let's go to the public who actually has a say in all of this because it's their taxpayers' dollars. Lori Witkin, followed by Susan Ona, followed by Alice Mann.
Lori Witkin, North Lakeside Drive. I would really like to encourage you to get the pool reopened. I'd like it to be a big pool, a pool everybody can use. I think having this extra money is something that we should use to really enhance the city and for the people. I understand that we're not a rich town, but I think that being said, maybe we need a pool more than Wellington does, where most people have pools in their backyard. And why should we not have a pool if these other towns have a pool? And I think our people deserve one also. Especially, I think that we need to give swimming lessons. I think there's a lot of people who don't know how to swim. And I think we should be able to do that. I think if we have the pool, the parking revenue will cover a lot of it, especially if we open it up, take the walls down, people know it's there, make it beautiful. And I understand that there's other things that the city needs, but I think that should come out of our regular budget. You know, we still have the utility money. I think the values are going up. We're having more development on Dixie. I think our tax base is going to go up. And I think this money is like a wonderful gift for us to do something for the city and the people. And I can't think of a better way to spend it than for our beachfront, which is just wonderful. And I mean, I was at the beach today and it was gorgeous, but you couldn't go in the ocean because the red flags were up because the swells are coming in. And there's a lot of days like that. And if you had an open pool there, people would say, we can always go to the beach in Lake Worth because if you can't go in the ocean, there's sea lice, there's seaweed, whatever, we have this pool to go in. And I really encourage you to just think positively about trying to do this for the people. Thank you.
Susan Ono, followed by Alice Mann, and then Tammy Panza, and then Don.
Good evening, Susan Ona, 826 North Palmway. Listening to you all talk tonight, and having been involved a little bit in putting in some ideas about the design of the pool, and I think my concern is there's so much discussion of the pool when we're really talking about a complex. We're talking about lifeguard places for the lifeguards to have offices and to have their storage area. We're talking about new restrooms, which are horrendous up there, the restrooms. I wouldn't want to enter them if I were at that beach. I mean, I'll walk by and I'll go home, but, or someplace else. But I think we're talking about showers. We're talking about a lot of things besides a pool. I mean, we're talking about a huge thing that has something that has to be done. A dinosaur that when you go up on the balcony and you look down, and if I was somebody at an event or a wedding, I would say, what the heck is this? You know, it's such a sad looking place. It's just sort of an urban decay, you know. From the outside, you know, there's some merits to it with the murals that have been put there, but I walk along that beach and it's kind of sad to see the restrooms in such a bad shape, and to even look at some of the plants. And as you were saying, Commissioner Amoroso, a lot of the area needs to be cleaned up. I mean, the plants are dying. They look sad. The beach just needs to be rejuvenated. And I think this whole possibility of doing something with this complex, not only is it a pool, but it's rejuvenating the whole complex and making it someplace where people are going to want to go and want to look down and see people gathering at the bar there, maybe at the tiki hut, and having music playing and children playing, and it's going to be say, wow, I'm glad I'm here, and maybe I'll do my wedding here next week. But thank you very much. I know it's a tough decision.
Alice, do you want me to read it? As I have spoken in support of the Lake Worth pool many times, I would just like to reiterate my support and urge the commission to vote to use the penny sales tax to build a new beachside pool complex. That's Alice Mann, 518 North Federal. Tammy Panza, followed by Don Rosenschein.
Tammy Panza, 116 North L. I know we're always going to have a large majority of people who are against the pool, for the pool. It's not really about pool per se. I believe Commissioner Hardy was saying something about resort-style pools and being lucrative at the beach is possibly a little bit different than putting a pool on the other side of the lagoon. I think the pool, if it does exist up at the casino, should be a business venture. If we make the pool available, if we, let's say, ever use that north half of the casino building, maybe even flip-flop the casino to the north side, so the second floor vendor could possibly manage a pool situation. Perhaps the grand staircase that we have could maybe surround the pool instead of stopping before we hit the ocean. I never understood the idea of a staircase stopping like 100 feet before we hit the ocean, and then there's no ocean view behind it, much like the tower over in Palm Beach. So this has to be a lucrative venture. So I would propose that we can get together and dedicate or allocate or earmark maybe $10 million of the penny sales tax funds to the casino project as a whole to contain a pool of some sort of profitable variety. before it gets spent, because a lot of it's already been spent before we even got a chance to have input on it, vote it, whatever. As far as the roads, we have the road bond, and it was explained to me during the road bond that we were going to use the road bond for a portion of it, and then start adequately providing for maintenance of our roads. So all of our roads should be set now. If we're having any sort of issues with the roads, it should be in your maintenance budget, because we have a history of not providing proper maintenance for anything. So we need to start getting on the ball with that. So thank you.
Don Rosenshine, followed by Janet Labanera.
My name is Don Rosenshine. I live at 131 North Gulfview Road.
Talk right into that because your voice
Right here?
Yeah. Thanks.
We have the tours. The other places do not have tours. That makes a big difference. The ocean is no longer a reliable recreational amenity in Lake Worth Beach or South Florida. But we're the only town in South Florida that has a solution, and it's right in front of us. We have a pool on the ocean that lies empty that could cater to Lake Worth residents without a pool and captive winter tourists who could help subsidize it. We can repair the pool now because we have a windfall. We have a penny sales tax to fix it. We don't have to use conventional tax revenues. This will never happen again. The idea of a pool is even bigger than accommodating lap swimmers, water aerobics, swimming lessons, and basic relief from oppressive heat in the summer and cold ocean temperatures in the winter. All very important. But beyond that, we can create a fabulous destination. An attractive, alluring, gorgeous new pool on the ocean. The city needs this distinction. We need another boost. We need another attraction that can spark attention. Done right, it will lure more people to visit here, to be here, to live here. This will improve our struggling tax base. Moreover, we've already spent $152,000 with consultants to refurbish our pool and our iconic casino park. We also need other penny sales tax for capital improvements. We need them. But no one will come here because we've spent money on a new garage or on a roof on the Public Works Administration.
Thank you, sir.
Yep.
Thank you.
So,
Janet?
Good evening, everyone. I apologize for my outfit. However, I just came from a pool. So I'm a little wet, but I wanted to come here just to reiterate. First of all, I do agree that it needs to be a business venture that's profitable. No one, I don't think, disagrees with that. I have said it before. Remind everyone, I moved here 5 years ago because of the pool. I considered other communities, Jupiter, Palm Beach Gardens. I looked at various communities. I moved here on the hope and on the belief that our town was going to improve, and it has. The streets have made such a lift in the town that it's unbelievable. I believe a pool venture, I don't even want to use the word pool, business-wise venture would lift this town again to another new level. I do want to say, of course, I'm biased. I have left my corporate career job to now become a full-time certified swim instructor. I am a swim exercise instructor, and I spent the past summer going to every community but ours to teach water safety and drowning prevention because we do not have a pool. So I think there are a lot of community service things such as drowning prevention that we could and should offer. I believe that we deserve an amenity like a pool redone. It is why I moved here. I now own 3 homes here in Lake Worth, and my sister and my brother-in-law live here now in Lake Worth. I brought them here, and we all pay taxes. So I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the pool. There are a lot of other people who wouldn't have been here and who would come if we lift our town to another new level.
Thank you. All right, so I'm just gonna, rather than go back and debate and hear the same things over and over again, I'm just gonna say, what's the motion?
I'll give it to you about Thursday. I believe the motion is to ratify the consensus. Well, I can't give it to you. I apologize. I don't want to say
Would
it
the
wrong.
motion then be, and I would just suggest that to, do you want to go ahead,
Yeah.
Commissioner Hardy?
Commissioner Hardy can give
So-
it again.
Take a stab at it.
Yeah, reading the minutes, I read 4 people say that they want to dedicate money from the penny sales tax on the pools. There are numbers attached to what these people said. When 4 people say that they want to do that, I don't know if we have to call it consensus at that meeting to say that there's a consensus, but when 4 people say, I would like this, I would like this, I would like this, I would like this, that would appear to me to be what Webster's dictionary might call a consensus. But here's what I'll say. I'll take my motion, which had a number attached to it, and I'll say, take away, if Commissioner Herman Robinson is okay with taking the number away from it, I'll take the number away from it and just say, I'm making a motion to ratify the consensus that some money needs to be spent at the pool. Now, my concern with that,
Do I have a second?
some money needs to be spent at the pool. Some penny sales tax money needs to be spent at the pool.
At the pool complex.
Thank you.
On the pool complex, which includes the casino.
You okay with that?
And you're okay with, I mean, I would like us all to be
I've got a motion
relatively.
on the floor. Is that your motion? Is that your second?
I'm okay with that. My concern, as I've stated before, we started with $22-ish million. We're down to 16. We went from 22 to 16 very quickly. My concern is that additional monies will be allocated or spent before we can have a conversation about how much to spend at the pool, which is why I wanted to put a number in there to protect the pool. Because we always, so that's why I put the number in there. If Commissioner Herman Robinson doesn't want the number in there, then I'll take the number out.
I've got a motion and I've got a second. Is that correct?
Can I verify what we're seconding? So,
We're seconding that penny sales tax money will be used towards the pool complex.
to the tune of,
No numbers.
well,
That's what was just used.
the longer, okay.
Quiet in the chambers, please.
Which is going to involve additional improvements to the complex. I mean, because if we just say pool, we need bathhouses.
I said that. Yeah.
Okay.
He said complex.
I was opposed to putting a specific number on it, but now the push, now that we don't have any capital improvements in the budget, we can't have a pool without designating a specific budget number to that.
But we have no business plan.
Well, we have a lot of work to do to get to a business plan because.
So
agreed. So make the second.
I didn't like putting a number on it before, but it wasn't going anywhere. I would like to put the 10 or 9.5 on the improvement.
Quiet in the chambers, please.
Of the casino park complex to include a pool. And then we can get into the areas of compromise and specify that this is going to be budgeted out of the penny sales tax, $9.5 million. And
That wasn't the motion that was made.
And what's the compromise?
The motion that was made,
We-
again, the motion that was made was, good word.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
did I understand Commissioner Robinson as saying that he would not second the motion unless there was a number attached to it?
Yes, that's exactly what he said.
Okay.
All right,
I'll attack,
So it- Madam, for
if that's what
Alexa?
Commissioner Robinson meant, that he will not second the motion unless there's a number
Gosh,
attached to it.
I've never seen a meeting run like this before in my entire life. The back and forth and the going back is completely irregular and totally not justifiable. So I understand, but I know. So I've got a motion on the floor that was made with no dollar amount to it. I had a second, and then I second was taken away. Is that taken away, or are you still going with it?
So the original motion.
The original motion.
The
I'll
original
go-
motion.
against my better judgment, I will go, because we get too excited about,
Well, you just keep changing course. Everyone keeps changing courses in the middle of course. Steady.
well.
Breathe, everyone, breathe.
Yeah, but the budget, we had talked about a number before. There was no capital improvements in the budget. Now apparently we're going to put a real.
But we get to vote on all that too.
Yeah.
We've got a motion on the. I'm not going to play around anymore, guys. We've got a motion on the floor, and I guess that was a second.
A second.
Second. All those in favor state so by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed.
Oh, no.
Motion carries 3-2. Thank you. City Attorney, did you have a report?
No, Madam Mayor.
City Manager?
Yes, Madam Mayor. I just want to remind everybody, tomorrow is a special meeting of the HRPB regarding the project on L&M Street. They're looking for a certificate of appropriateness from the HRPB regarding structures in that block for either demolition or relocation. The 24th of this month, at our electric utility regular schedule meeting, which will be held, we also have our budget hearing adoption for the budget will be before that meeting as well. On the 26th, we have a workshop with the commission. Y'all have been working with the group Trinovations about, coincidentally, how to work better together. And part of the discussions are going to be talking about different a toolbox and things to help facilitate debate and process. And I think it's going to be a very good session, and that's on the 26th. I want to remind everybody, hurricane season goes through the end of November. Please do not let your guard down. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to take a mayor's privilege, if I could, to, based on the content of tonight's conversations, whatever, that I would like to encourage all successful business people out there that have wonderful entertainment venues and dining establishments that are looking for something interest to bring their interest to the city of Lake Worth Beach, so we can talk and run two lives parallel, so we can actually create a fantastic business plan that will succeed for everybody, and everybody can get what they want. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn, please.
So moved.
Second. Any second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Good night.